What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Nation here on the Outlaw Nation channel. I'm a couple of minutes late. I apologize right off the bat, but corralling all this stuff when it pops up here in the late morning when you're compiling stuff for other things to do, it kind of gets you in a bit of a frazzled state of mind. I got to record a little bit later on a second part of our Cinephiles breakdown of the 2004's Sideways, the little mini masterpiece on wine culture from Alexander Payne. I've also got later on tonight at 7 o'clock, Winston A. Marshall and I doing a live episode of Spill the Tequila, where we are going to dive into the Natalie Portman stuff that Christian Harloff broke yesterday, what's true, what isn't true about it, jump into the stuff that happened over the weekend, get into the playoff stuff, but also talk about the Trump inauguration, the people performing, some of those executive orders, and Elon Musk's did he or did he not Nazi salute situation. But this particular episode here of The Nation is to address the almost a little bit over 9 minutes of footage that was released here by Brian Friedman and Justin Baldoni's team to address some of the accusations that Blake Lively had made over the last few weeks about the situation on set with Justin Baldoni on It Ends With Us. Now, for those of you who may be catching up to this story, I'll give you a brief primer. Basically, Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively did a film called It Ends With Us, which is on Max now that you can watch. It's based on the Colleen Hoover book. And apparently on the set, Blake Lively claims that you see my Red Hulk here? I just got these the other day, Red Hulk and then the Captain America, Brave New War. I'm going to bust those out as we get closer to the premiere of that movie. But anyway, while on set there, apparently Blake Lively claims that Justin Baldoni sexually harassed her by kissing her neck and getting all in her, violating her personal space. And so a lot of people changed their mind because initially they were on Baldoni's side because all this stuff came out about Blake Lively and how she has mistreated people in the past. And there were clips of interviews where she wasn't the most, shall I say, nicest celebrity, which is, totally fine. Male celebrities have been assholes for years. So, you get called out on it. And she got called out on it as a female celebrity. And then there was a pushback from her side saying, oh, look at these text messages, these picked out text messages and exchanges that were done through the New York Times. And she claimed sexual harassment against Justin Baldoni and that he violated her space. And so she pushed back on the negative complaints and said that it was an orchestrated smear campaign. And by the end of that situation, Justin Baldoni and his team, led by Brian Friedman, who's a lawyer that I respect and would not enjoy getting on the bad side of, went after Blake Lively and basically said, we have text messages, we have video, we have all this stuff. We're going to sue the New York Times first. And now we're suing Blake Lively. We tell Disney and Marvel to hold all communications with Ryan Reynolds and not destroy them over the Nice Pool character. And today, and they released full text message exchanges, which kind of did not put Blake in the best light. And so she responded back by saying, well, her team did, her lawyer, saying this is classic abuser behavior, blaming the victim and all of that. So, you got to keep an open mind about things like this, right? Yes, absolutely believe all women in terms of let's hear what they have to say. Let's hear them out. Let's not just shut it down like in the past, decades before in the past in our patriarchal society. Women have spoken up about harassment or about abuse or sexual assault, and men have ignored them, laughed at them. Cops have talked them out of filing charges. Certainly people in certain towns have used political influence to shut women up who are trying to speak out about this stuff. So definitely believe all women in terms of let's hear what they have to say about these situations. It doesn't mean that every time a woman speaks about this, she is telling the truth. They are human beings, just as men are human beings. And so everyone is capable of lying or misperceiving or not telling the truth. So you got to open the door and be more objective in the way you look at these things, especially because those are very serious accusations and what those accusations can lead to. And clearly already Justin Baldoni is a little bit of a persona non grata because of this situation, right? But Blake has suffered some real serious hits to her reputation. And in the most recent set of back and forth lawsuits and accusations, a lot of people are harping on, and I certainly did a few days ago on the hot mic, with her saying that she is comparing herself to Khaleesi in these text messages and that Taylor Swift and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, are essentially her two dragons. Taylor Swift has responded by saying, "Look, I was on my way over there. I had no idea a meeting was going on between Baldoni and Baldoni and Blake Lively, and I walked in. So basically, it seems like from her side, from her people, that like she was not asked to be a part of this meeting. She was going over to see her, and the meeting was happening, and then she probably chimed in. Baldoni's team claims that she chimed in on these on the accusations and on the news script pages and all of this stuff. So there was all of that. So that's basically the background of everything that you need to know walking into this footage before we watch it. And there have been back and forth stuff going on here with these accusations. The 179-page lawsuit that Justin Baldoni filed recently, a few days ago, has a lot of accusations aimed at Blake Lively, basically that she did not read the book until deep into sometime into the filming of It Ends With Us, that she didn't know the hair color of the woman. He also accused her of body shaming him by claiming that he had to get a nose job, or that his nose was too big, something to that effect. Some people chimed in saying that Justin Baldoni might be Jewish, so that might be even more of a not only just body shame, but also a racist thing, which I don't know, and that's I don't know what Baldoni's if he's Jewish or not, but it'd be hard pressed to see if that's a situation there. But maybe that's in the footage. We're gonna take a look at this footage off of Twitter here and see what we're gonna get. Now, I don't know if this show is going to be taken down because there might be dialogue or music or whatever being used in this footage that is going to basically cause it to be taken down. I don't know. So watching me live, if I get taken down, let me know, send me a message, or if I go black in the middle of it, let me know as well. And look, there's 150 joining me already. Thank you so much for joining me live as we jump into this. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel. And if you want to send support for what I'm doing here, send it in through Streamlabs and Super Chat. You see the Streamlabs address right above my head. Super Chat's already JMB. I see your Super Chat. So this is kind of a crazy situation. Some of you might be asking, Rocha, why are you covering this? Why are you covering this? Well, I'm covering this because I think this is an interesting situation in the political, sexual, how can I say this? The gender dynamics. Sorry, I guess I want to say the gender dynamics in this situation, because you have a woman of power married to a man of immense power like Ryan Reynolds, and a situation like this pops up with a film like this that was about domestic violence, but it was portrayed in the premiere by Chris as something completely different, an opportunity to sell her brands of her multiple revenue streams that she has. And look, there's no crime in that. Honestly, you've got to do what you've got to do to be successful, but there is a sense of tone deafness in that way, and a bit of insulting domestic violence survivors, because you turned the premiere into a bit of a look at me type of situation instead of a let's honor domestic violence survivors. Let's make sure there's a bunch of stuff here for people to enjoy, people to explore and get knowledgeable about or donate to. But instead it was, buy my stuff, buy my perfume, buy my this or that. And so there's a tone deafness here. And Justin is in essence a guy who's labeled himself a feminist. He's had a podcast that he has talked about trying to educate men about how to be better with women. So there's this other side of this. Was he lying the whole time? Is he actually a person who sexually harasses but portrays himself as this kind of good guy who loves women and all of that? So there was an element of this. So there's all these things that are very curious to me, as we're in a bit of a transition time right now, I think, with our gender dynamics. The Me Too movement happened, woke a lot of people up to what women have been saying for decades, centuries, about their treatment in patriarchal societies. But then there was a pushback to that, of course, very strongly from a lot of men who were upset about all of this and being called out about their behavior towards women. And there were some men who felt like, look, they were legitimately screwed over by a situation like this because some women lied, or a woman lied or manipulated a situation, whether at work or in a dating situation or what have you, that there were some issues that went down. So I think we've come to this place now where those of us who are level-headed, rational people want to hear what everybody has to say when accusations come out, and then we make up our minds. And I think that's the good place to be in, where we want to create space for women to be heard, women to feel safe to speak their truth, and then for men to also who are the accused to speak their truth or their beliefs to counter And then we look at all the evidence and decide for ourselves. And that's what a rational, normal, sane thinking society should do. And so I like the fact that this situation kind of opens the door to it. Now, yeah, somebody mentioned, I see Buzzy Buzz mentioning Amber Heard. Certainly the Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation was kind of the situation that exposed that is kind of the place most people are at now, hearing both sides, because there are a lot of people that believe Blake Lively. Certainly there were a lot of people who was it the actress, I think Lola Glaudini, I think that's her name, who talked about the harassment that she experienced, not sexual, but certainly verbal, from Johnny Depp. And so there was a lot of ways to look at that situation, depending on what accusations, what commentaries, what words, what phrases back and forth, what exchanges appealed to you or felt authentic to you, And so I think that's the one that really exposed it. So now we have this thing going on here with the wife of a massively famous person who is made $1.5 billion, I think is what it was, with his Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and might be flexing a lot of strength within the Marvel universe now because he's got this power behind him. And certainly someone who is a lot of people, there are accusations behind the scenes that he is difficult to work with, that he's very demanding and pushy, and is willing to sacrifice anyone in order to succeed. And certainly part of the Justin Baldoni lawsuit with wanting them to keep all the conversations that went on with Marvel and Disney about Nice Pool, the character that he claims is essentially Ryan Reynolds making fun of him in that movie. And remember, Lady Pool kills Nice Pool. So in a way, is that them taking out their petty differences over the situation that happened here, or their legitimate anger at a sexual harassment situation that happened? That's the thing that's up for perception, or subjective perception, judgment, what have you. So a lot of this is going around. So they dropped today, as I said, almost 9 minutes of footage, or over 9 minutes of footage, I think it is, of what happened on the set of It Ends With Us. And the footage is apparently covering the accusation of sexual harassment she made and the body shaming complaint or accusation that Justin Baldoni made. Plus, it supposedly gives us a window into what their interactions were like on the set, and if it's as bad as they claim from both sides. So what I'm going to do in this video is watch it. I appreciate all you watching me live. We're at 250 people watching me live. We're going to watch it. I might pause it occasionally to give my thoughts on what I think is happening here, and the exchanges. And then we'll wrap up with a conversation about it afterwards. And thank you to everybody who is joining me live. As I said, I've got the Streamlabs Super Chats open. If you have a comment, you have a question or thought you want to get across, you want me to answer, you want me to talk about here on the show, sending in through Streamlabs or sending it as a Patreon is the best way to do it. And sending it as a Super Chat rather is the best way to do it. And if you want to join the Patreon, as I just said, that's it right there to support all we do here on the channel. All right, let's bring this thing up here and let's take a look at it. And as I said, I may go down because there may be stuff on here that I'm not supposed to be looking at or that I'm not supposed to have up. I don't know. So these are the questions that I have for myself personally. So let's see. I don't want to do that one. I thought I had another one for this one. Where is it? The citizen journalist one. Let me get that one up first. I had another one up, but I don't want to promote that one just yet. So, okay, great. So now it's okay. Sorry, guys. I had this thing up initially, but now it's down. Okay, here we go. All right. So this is the one I want to use. So let's bring it up here. All right. So this is breaking news. All right. So so it's about 9 minutes and 47 seconds. So we're going to watch it. So you see here at the bat, Miss Lively's complaint alleges, this is from dailymail.com. I know TMZ got their hands on this as well. So Miss Lively's complaint alleges that during a scene, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively were filming for a slow dance montage. Mr. Baldoni was behaving inappropriately. Now, some of you may be saying, why are you reading this, Rocha? I can read. Well, I don't want to sit here in silence. And the second thing is I always post the audio of these episodes up on my Outlaw Nation podcast feed for anyone to listen to. So for people who are listening, I'm reading what is the text that's on the screen. The following videos captured on May 23rd, 2023 clearly refute Ms. Lively's characterization of his behavior, his being Justin Baldoni. The scene in question was designed to show the two characters falling in love and longing to be close to one another. Both actors are clearly behaving well within the scope of the scene and with mutual respect and professionalism. These are all 3 takes filmed of the sequence. Now, before we dive in real quick, Blake Lively claimed in her original complaint, original accusations, that there was no audio of this exchange, and therefore they only had her word to go on. Well, there is audio apparently. So we're going to take a look at this and see. I'm playing it right now. Okay, so exterior bar, Knight, Lily, and Ryle. Those are the names of the 2 characters. Lily, of course, being Blake Lively. Slow dance in the bar. Patrons are on. Sorry about that. Let me make sure. Patrons are on them drinking and watching sports completely in their own world. All right, let's keep it going here. So we get a track here.
Victor 40, take one.
All right, let me know if you guys can hear it. I want to make sure you guys can hear it.
Yeah.
Are we good? Can you hear it?
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Ready, everyone?
Right.
Talking at the bar, something's on the screen.
And can you give us a couple cues of like this score? Just so everyone else around us is having a moment.
But is it as rambunctious as it was earlier on?
No, it's never going to be because we're in slow-mo.
So that's
they're
just
watching,
Baldoni, JB.
people are watching games.
Who is directing the scene because he is the director of the
things
movie.
like that. Yeah, thank
Here
you.
with his female assistant director.
And everybody good? And playback. Background. Camera.
As you can hear the music. Okay. All right, so close the version of with the Beach Boys song. So she is already, she's kind of, and playfully, like she's directing him, and he's saying, no, I think she's headed this way, right, block it. So this is clearly like footage that is going to be used in a certain way, and it's going to be a montage. So they score is clearly her saying, like, whoever's watching football or whatever's on the screen, whatever sports, that they've scored, so react to it as a background. So we see them, right? They're getting close, they're almost kissing. It's to show that the relationship and the joy they're having. This, of course, before the relationship turns pretty bad in the movie. Right, they scored again, giving her the direction. So you see, they're playing the role. They're both actors. They're playing the role. They're intimate. They're close. They're almost kissing. They're hugging. And now she suggests that they should be talking, that it's more romantic if we're like dancing and talking. So she's directing and he's directing back, and she's offering her suggestions. So she wants to be talking, right? And this clear, she wants to be talking. She thinks that's more romantic. She says, like, let's hold off on the kiss because you don't want to give them what they want to see too early. So clearly, it's the 2 actors. And look, I've been in scenes like this. Not, of course, not at this scale, not at a big feature film. But I have done scenes like this both on stage and in movies, small movies, student movies, what have you. There is a conversation about how, because it's a bit of an awkward situation because obviously you're not actually together in real life. So how do you maneuver that? How do you make it so it seems believable, but you're still a little awkward about it? Because I don't know how deep into the shooting schedule and their relationship this scene is happening. So the conversations clearly are an actress who is, not shy about speaking her mind, saying, hey, I think we should be doing this. The director who wants to respect his actress saying, well, I think we should do this. I think it's better this way. So you're seeing kind of a mixture of their approach to the scene, both of them, right? They're offering their opinions, and each one is adjusting to a degree to what the other one wants out of respect for each other. So, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. That happens all the time in shooting these kinds of scenes, both on stage and in film. Right?
Watch out. Oh, this person's drinking over.
Right, and they're sharing. Yeah, she's doing a joke about a background extra coming in. Oh, sweet back and forth. They're smiling, they're laughing. I think that's John Legend, isn't it? Yo! John Legend loves to do that extra stuff. Yo! That's John Legend to a T. I don't know who he's duetting with. So here's the move-in. Now, this may be the accusation that she's saying that he went in and elbowed her neck. Now, she seems to be receiving it. She doesn't push back. She doesn't say stop now. That doesn't mean it did not bother her. It doesn't mean it didn't make her uncomfortable. Let's make that clear. It could still have bothered her, but she felt, I'll just finish the scene out, whatever. And there she is, like fully wrapped, her arms. So you can see there's a chemistry here. There's a connection. They're both trying to do what needs to
Can we
be
do a
done
score?
here.
Can we do a score?
And then he
Couple
stops.
scores?
Can we do a score? A couple.
Well,
So,
we're, yeah.
so he's directing himself, directing the scene, directing their back and forth, and directing the and making sure the overall thing is. Oh, sorry, I missed that. So let's go back just a second because I was talking to make sure. All right. So he says, all right, so they're back to talking and actually, okay.
Well, we're,
This is you're saying, make sure everything's cool. This course so that people react. So she's saying, talk, talk. So she's clearly saying, like, let's just talk. Now, it's very possible she's saying this because he makes her uncomfortable. It's very possible that he makes her uncomfortable. She's trying to be nice, and she's saying, look, can we just talk and just let it be at that and not let it be, us kissing or whatever. So she's directing the scene to a degree, or offering her input, right? Which I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't see any kind of issues here. Because then you're like, what are they saying? Well, we have no issue talking most of the time. So now they're getting familiar, right? Yeah, so she's playing around with the fans or the viewers would think. He's like, we're going to find out.
Oh my gosh, we don't shut up.
And now they talk about their relationship.
Staring. You just stare.
Literally, we've done it for like 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. We just literally hear each other, and like
When I
time,
found a sociopath.
and then time stops.
Yeah.
But like it's
So they're joking, right? She's joking about Ryan and what they do, and he's talking about him and his wife Emily and what they do, and he's talking about how they stare at each other, and also there is a sense of finding a kinship here or a connection because they're talking about each other's relationships and the weird connections or the weird things they do within their relationship. So look, all of us have relationships. All of us have weird little ways of communicating with each other because that's what makes us vibe so well with the person we're supposed to be with. We find a commonality in some of our weirdness. Lord knows if they had a camera on Lily and I for 24 hours, you would see some of the weird ways we communicate with each other out of love and fun. So these are things that happen in relationships. So they're having, I think, a connective moment here about their respective relationships.
that's just how it's been for us from the beginning.
No, we're like, oh my god, there's
And they score again.
It's like, oh my god, I forgot to tell you something
Yeah,
else.
so clearly you can see her and Ryan is genuine love. And now he's saying they're cute.
I think it's more than cute.
They won the Stanley Cup.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's trying to say by, I think it's
And
more than
let's
cute.
just
Like
do
she's
one
trying to make
almost.
sense. No, it's bigger.
Close.
Yeah.
Can you guys frame up on the Sebastian on you?
Yeah.
Just we'll just do like our lips are right next to each other.
She doesn't seem unsettled. She doesn't seem uncomfortable. Now, it doesn't mean she isn't, right? I want to make it very, very clear.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's in
ready?
it.
But she's very clear about, like, let's do this, let's do that. I mean,
They
what
want
about
it,
this?
don't give it to him.
Yeah, don't give it
Just
to him.
keep restraint.
Yeah, keep the restraint.
Do a little bit of restraint.
So she's even showing her how close they can get to almost kiss, but not quite. And that's good because that kind of adds the connective tissue
And the couple
in their
by the bar
relationship
walk towards us,
in the movie.
cross- No, no, your name, sorry. Ponytail lady.
And then
Cross this way. Cross this way. Take your day. Cross this way.
It's together, right? Right. So she's the assistant director is directing, and the other director is directing people through.
And
And
my-
noses.
and my nose is so big.
Yes, I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just deal with that. And
Yeah.
then
God.
just kidding.
No, it's true. That's why we hired Jenny Slate too. Our noses.
All right. So let's stop there. So this is the nose accusation that he made about her, right? Or the lawyer, Brian Friedman, made about this situation, right? Now, I think they've taken this because as we saw the nuzzling, the neck, that seemed innocent and within what the scene was asking for, that they're getting closer with each other, that it's supposed to convey some semblance of love and affection for each other. There doesn't seem to be this situation where she is uncomfortable by it necessarily, at least from what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that a professional actress who's done numerous love scenes and numerous scenes where she's in love with somebody and getting close and all this kind of stuff. She's clear about what she thinks the scene should convey, how close they should get, should they kiss or not, which she thinks they should, and they should just talk. And she said, we can do restraint. There's a cool way to show restraint. So the audience is like, oh, are they going to? Are they not going to? It's very smart, right, in the approach of that way, because you understand what you want the audience to feel in those moments. He is obviously from a different point of view doing, well, what about the kissing? And no, okay, well, okay, I'll go along with what you want to a degree, but I'm going to also like, kind of move in and make so it's all, if there's a violation, there's a moment to be like, hey, don't do that, right? Stop, or I don't think that's cool. Get off me, that kind of thing. So you didn't see any of that, right? So here's the nose situation, because this is where, from Baldoni's side, he is claiming that she is body shaming him by talking about his nose. And remember, she accused him of body shaming her. If you've read the complaints, saying that, oh, well, he checked because there was a stunt and he was worried because Justin has back issues. He was worried about picking her up, wanted to know what her weight was so that he could be able to pick her up. Not because he thought she was too heavy or because she was, or whatever. It was just because he wanted to know if he could pick her up, right? That's what he says, right? And I think that's very believable. Whether he's telling the truth or not, there's obviously only him and whoever else might have been there at the time know the truth. But it seems like a respectful thing to be like, hey, I just need to know how much she weighs, so I want to make sure that I can pick her up. I don't know if I can pick her up. That's totally fair, and so I understand that situation. So his counter to that, or Brian Friedman and their team with Justin Baldoni, their counter is that she body shamed him through the nose. Now, if you look at this exchange, this seems like a playful exchange because he offers up that his nose is too big, and then she chimes in with jokes like, yeah, I meant to say something, or something to that effect, and then saying like, well, we can handle it. We can shut the production down. You can get it taken care of. And then she says, I'm kidding, right? And so it is a playful exchange between the two of them. It certainly doesn't seem like he's offended by it. Doesn't mean he isn't. Doesn't mean he wasn't, right? But it doesn't seem to, from this video footage, seem like he's offended by it. He plays along with it, goes back and forth. Now, when he says this thing about Jenny Slate, that's too much. That's not, like, I thought that's a shitty thing to say. Because, yes, does Jenny have a noticeable nose? Yes. I don't think anything's wrong with that. I think strong noses are an indication of someone that I thoroughly enjoy. As someone who has a bit of a bigger nose myself, I don't care about that stuff, right? I think but you saying it about someone else, I think is, even in jest, I think is poor form. So I think here in this way, I think Justin is wrong to say this about Jenny, but the back and forth here doesn't feel like, she is body shaming him. She's joking along with what he offered. Now, could she have said, no, your nose is beautiful, it's great, don't worry about it? Why would you say that? Of course. But they seem to have a playful ball-busting banter, and that's kind of where it went with this situation. So that's the end of that particular scene. Now we come back to this a little bit more of this. It's another take of this scene here.
She's not marrying someone she doesn't know with lots of red flags. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh, okay, there's stuff that we don't know.
All of it.
Yeah. It feels.
One step further, Catherine, please. Great, thank you.
Let's start on action. Let's just do everyone celebrated. There's a game going on action.
So
Yeah.
directing
People passing.
On action, it'll just be celebration. They've just scored. Ready and
Hold on, let me
lay
get, let me
back.
get your hat in there.
Lay
a second,
back.
and then I'll take it off. Like I'll try to kiss you and then I'll take it off.
Background.
Great.
I know you want that.
Just try to kiss yourself.
Oh, that's his sticker. Good.
This is
Yeah, no, there's no sticker.
And they score. They score.
Yo.
I don't know if that's part of the scene or not, because I haven't seen the actual scene. But they're interacting in the background. So see, here, this is the thing. Look how they're both acting like they're, just in love. And there he nuzzles again into her neck. At no point is she pushing him off. At no point is she going to do that. At no point getting her nose to nose. And he's asking, am I getting my beard on you today? Probably a spray tan. Smells
Well,
good.
it's not bad. It's my body makeup.
He strokes her hair. See, and they play the game of restraint here again. He leans in, but she moves away. They turn around.
All right, cut.
All right, calls cut. Now look, he's not, he's not like, oh God, yeah, I got to be around you. It's like, yeah, cut. All right, we're done with this. So this is the source of I think this is the source of the sexual harassment. Like she's claiming that he nuzzled his neck, said she smelled good, right? So they almost kissed. Okay.
Body makeup.
Oh, okay. So this is it, right? He's like leaning in, and he goes in like this. She pulls back a little bit, but she's, she moves her face towards his. And he's saying, "Oh, did I get my beard on yet?" They're in this moment, and she laughs. He goes down, and again, he's laughing, and she says, "I'm probably getting my spray tan on you." And he says it smells good, the spray tan, which of course spray tan doesn't smell good, for God's sakes. I don't know anybody who thinks spray tan smells good. So it's a bit of a joke. And she says, "Well, it's my
Well,
body."
it's not that. It's my body makeup.
And then he strokes her hair as kind of a part of it, lays her lips. So now, again, if this is the harassment, it does not feel like this is unwanted or inappropriate with the scene they're shooting, right? He's not forcing himself on her. She has every opportunity to stop him and to push him off. That being said, and let's be fair, you got to be fair when you're looking at these things. It doesn't mean she wasn't uncomfortable by it. It doesn't mean she didn't feel like she was being harassed a bit or being taken advantage of. But for me, as an objective observer from the outside, it doesn't look like she's being harassed. So, or looks like she's uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form. Right? And when he says cut, where they turn and spin. Okay, so when they say turn and spin, they won. Right, she's celebrating a little
All
bit,
right, cut.
and he's all right, cut.
We got plenty.
Yes.
Slow motion. It's going to be a 17-minute reel.
And she pulls off, says they got plenty. It's going to be a 17-minute reel. And this is another take here with this particular scene, or a different scene, I guess. Is it, or is it the dance scene? But we're seeing their shoes. We're getting a shot of their shoes, right?
Playback and background.
This was a big deal. Like, the costuming was a big deal because she wanted her character to have way better outfits than what is portrayed in the book. So there's a bit of vanity there, you could argue, a bit of her own branding, wanting to get away, wanting to convey that this woman is capable of dressing in a certain way or affording certain things. Now, we don't get the subtitle. He's basically saying, "I'll let you direct the scene that you want. They're good because I want to see this part."
Out of there.
Don't crop out her heel.
The sparkle.
Yeah, he wants to see this part.
Though life would still go on, believe me.
We move up to them. So this is basically the same thing, just from below, where we see their embrace, and she's directing the scene. He's letting her direct this particular take.
There we go. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Now it's better.
Spinning. Here we go.
She wants her costume profile. Yeah, basically to convey something about her. And her status. Right? Turn. I don't understand the logic of this shot at all. Because there's nothing to add to the scene, other than showing that she's clearly like a much more wealthier person or put together person, and he's got his Nikes and his car.
Blake Lively special.
There you go. Blake Lively special. So anyway, all right. So that's the video. So here's what my belief of the situation. Helene says he did body shame his she did body shame his being big hands. She's talking about that was a joke. That was a joke between two people who are getting to know each other, getting friendly with each other, what have you. It's ball busting. That's what it was. It seems to me these are both very clearly strong-willed people who have their beliefs and their opinions on things, are going to say what they think, what they feel. But I look at that and I don't see sexual harassment. I look at that and I don't see body shaming. So it seems to me that if you strip away all of that, because it seems like they're both wrong in making these accusations from an objective point of view. It doesn't mean she didn't feel sexually harassed. It doesn't mean he didn't feel body shamed. Those are all still very valid feelings they both could legitimately have about these situations. Objectively, though, from looking from the outside, this looks like a scene that was, they had to shoot intimate stuff. They both knew what was being asked of each other. She allowed him to make certain things, to do certain things. And look, those are the kind of freedoms you have in certain situations, right? I was watching some TikTok about one of these actors talking about, was it Regina King or somebody, like slapping them in the course of the scene, but it hadn't been talked about before the scene. So she slapped him in the course of the scene because she felt that was the right thing to do without clearing it with him first. You could argue that that's assault, but that's what happens sometimes in these situations with actors. And that's why actors have to have agency to be like, hey, no. And look, Blakely's no wallflower again. So I think if she felt she was being harassed or abused or in any way felt to be made uncomfortable, then I think there's a perfect moment for her to push him back and be like, hey, don't. Now, again, it doesn't mean there aren't takes out there where she legitimately said no. And if there are, and those pop up, I will absolutely talk about it here as well, where she said, stop, you're getting too close to me, don't do this, whatever. They were both like, trying to convey this burgeoning romance between them, this attraction, this electricity, so to speak. And so you saw them do certain things to convey that. And I thought that came through very clearly. I don't think the nose thing made any sense to me at all, that she is a body shaming him, because it seems to me like that's a joke between the two of them. So I think they're both, objectively, I think they're both making more of each situation than it is in order to win this lawsuit, in order to fight back. You got Blake who filed it first, then Justin's on the defense. Now he's a little bit more on the offense. She's on the defense now. And I just think at the end of the day, both of these people need to settle this thing, because this is just getting ridiculous. And the more of this stuff that comes out, it's not going to help either one, because now Justin honestly looks like he's making a mountain out of a molehill for that nose comment, because she was joking and he opened the door to it first. And then she seems like she's making a mountain out of a molehill because it was one of many movements he was making to convey this connection and affection that was building between the two characters. I don't think he took any kind of extra physical license that she didn't allow him to take, or quite possibly she didn't tell him to stop if she was bothered. So how would he know that it's not what she wants to do, or didn't like what he was doing? He's trying things. He's a director who's trying things, and I don't think either one of them, I think they're good actors and they're conveying what the character's attraction for each other is. But as soon as they yell cut, they don't linger and, in each other's arms and have these extra flirty conversations. No, it's all part of the direction, part of the story, part of the acting. Because when they say cut, their faces drop a little bit and they're not in that scene anymore. So I think this is what you look at it, for me personally, looking on the outside as an actor, but also as a person who's watched a lot of movies, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of outtakes. It seems to me like this is boiling down to he did accuse her of body shaming. Read the thing, Kai. He accused her of he said if he was her, he would used it in that way. Everyone, I don't know what that means. But he did accuse her of body shaming, the nose situation. That's in the lawsuit, right? It is there in the lawsuit. And so so there's that kind of situation. So to me, it just seems like both of these people need to settle this situation, because I don't think it's going on anywhere. I think it's hurting them both, to be honest with you, because this is not what Blake needs to be dealing with. This is not what Justin needs to be dealing with. Sorry, I want to get real ODD sometimes, or OCD, when I want to be in the middle. And I think it's now spreading out to where you're bringing in Disney and Marvel to keep their interactions with Orion over nice pool. Don't delete any emails or text messages. And now you're going to bring in possibly Feige in all of this, because Feige was in charge of the movie. So what does he know about it? Taylor Swift has already been brought on into this because of the Khaleesi Dragons thing. That's the last thing she needs as her tour is wrapping up. And she's already getting enough shit for being, seen on the NFL playoff games all the time when or NFL period, when Travis Kelce is playing and she's there. So I just think at the end of the day, they've got this footage. They've got these unedited text messages. I think the smart thing for both of them to do is just settle this thing. Pay him out a certain amount of money. You take the franchise, because that's this seems to be what it's really all about, is getting control of the franchise of It Ends With Us, because Blake sees the possibility of this being a multiple installment franchise that could be a signature thing for her. And she sees Ryan with Deadpool. She's an actress. Don't tell me there isn't a little bit of professional jealousy there. That goes male to female or female to male when you're dealing with actors. There's always that desperate desire to, well, not desperate, but desire to feel equal, right? And so you have that always bubbling in the surface of the situation. And there's a lot of rumors about Scarlett and Ryan, and Ryan's frustration with Scarlett's quick ascension and how he had troubles dealing with it. There's a lot of stuff rumored behind the scenes about how he felt about all of that. So it happens. And so maybe Blake saw this as an opportunity, and maybe Ryan wants this for her. So this may be the situation that he wants to support her in achieving. On the other side, Justin, well, this is just hurting him more and more. And I know there's pictures of him vacationing with his family out today or whatever, but this just becomes an issue all around. But again, as I told you, both of these situations seem to be like neither one of them is fully telling 100% the truth of what happened, and they're manipulating a little bit of what happened because they want to defend themselves and they want to be right in the situation, especially in the court of public opinion. But the more of this stuff that comes out, I think the more it starts to hurt Blake again. It creates space for the fact that people think, it's because she's a woman. And of course, I understand that. A lot of people feel that way. A lot of women feel that way. And I totally respect and understand that. But I also think like this seems very clearly like it's not as both of them have portrayed it. So I think in a way, both of them are in the wrong here in how they've accused each other of things. On the other side, as I said, it doesn't mean that either one of them doesn't legitimately feel the way they're saying they felt. So you got to create space for that as well. And a lot of people have been asking, like, where's the Justin Baldoni cut? Because the one that came out is Blake Lively's cut. And of course, that one made a lot of money. So you could argue they made the right choice with the cut, or it could be the controversy that got people to watch it. Who knows? But I think Justin Baldoni should be allowed to release his cut as well. And let's see what that cut looks like and how people feel about that cut. I think that would only be fair. But, I think because it's on Max, it's a WB movie, and certainly they've had their experiences of releasing director's cuts of movies from directors. David Ayer's still clamoring to get his Suicide Squad. So, all right. Let's see. Okay, is that everything? Yeah, I think that's everything. So let's hit some of these super chats. JMB says, completely unrelated, but Rocha, you got to check out today's Christian show with Roxy and Mike. Mike's internet craps out and he just loses it. Poor Mike. Oh, Mike. Yeah, I know. Mike is always flipping out. I love my brother, but he's always flipping out. Irving Transplant. Thank you, Irving. Appreciate it. Kai saying what she said. He didn't accuse her of body shaming. He said if he was her, he would have used it that way as she did every one of their interactions. Okay. Green says if we're just, wouldn't you want to clear your name? Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying I think Justin's doing the right thing by pushing back. I think Justin's doing the right thing by saying, no, you don't get to dictate what the narrative of the situation was. I know it's a small percentage of people who get falsely accused, but you got to fight back if you are being falsely accused, and that's a situation we need to step up. He's stepping up. He's got a very high power lawyer to help him. He's got all these unedited text messages and exchanges that they saved and weren't deleted. He's got footage from the film. And again, as I said at the beginning of this thing, Blake said that there was no audio of their interaction. Well, clearly there is audio of their interaction. It was there as you were watching the footage. So there is audio. And what she claims was sexual harassment. So, Fantastic says, in Jay Rocha's opinion, can this franchise succeed, especially if budgets rise or skyrocket? Yeah, no. I don't know. It all depends on how they settle this thing. I think right now the jury's out. I think you could say, well, it made a lot of money. You should go vote. But all the drama around it since the film came out, I think has damaged the franchise. Not irreparably, but it's certainly damaged it. And so I think you have to do a lot of upkeep to fix it. I think you'd have to settle the lawsuits in a way that both of them come out claiming that they won or claiming some level of victory in the situation. And Justin has to bless the franchise going forward. If Justin's going to surrender it for Blake, I think he has to say, I've thought about it, and I think it's best if Blake continues. Colleen wants her to continue. Unfortunately, there were a series of misunderstandings on the movie between both of us, I wish her nothing but the best. Her and Ryan, I never wanted it to get this way. And if he's paid out like $400 million, like his lawsuit says, he doesn't have to work again for the rest of his life. Neither does his family or his kids, kids, they could be sent. So in a way, he wins in that way. He's still a young man. He can still make a bunch of independent films. 5 years later, jump up into something bigger because people always forgive and forget. The other side of it is, I mean, we've seen Mel Gibson, for God's sakes, he's back, right? He's directing films and what have you. Sorry, I'm going to take these comments down. The other side of it is with Blake, how much more of this do you want to keep taking? You can't wrap yourself in this if there's holes in this blanket of, a domestic or whatever you want to say, sexual harassment survivor or whatever, when there are clearly holes being poked in that blanket and women coming forward to like call her out on numerous shows and on numerous articles saying that she's essentially endangering people believing in sexual assault, sexual harassment complaints. And so that's not something you want hanging around your brand. So I think in the end, these are two Hollywood people. And from what I've heard from behind the scenes, neither one of them is the most likable. They should just settle this thing and be done with it and move on, honestly. And I can't imagine Ryan isn't saying to her, like, Abe, I get it. I support you. I love you. But like, we got to think of the overall situation here before it gets too damaging for our brands. We got the potential to make so much money, and move forward into the Marvel thing, and Marvel's turning around. There's a lot of opportunities. We could bring Lady Deathpool back or Lady Pool back. There's all kinds of possibilities. So I think in the end, that's what needs to happen here. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Frankie C says, what does it say in the narrative if Lively pays Baldoni? I've been a fan of yours since Collider. I'm also a Swiftie. I'm tired of those fans not reading the facts to see no one is clean in this. Right. And that's what I'm saying, Frankie. And thank you very much for being a fan of mine since the Collider. I appreciate that very, very much. It's a good question. What does it say in the narrative if Lively pays Baldoni? Well, that's what I'm saying to you. I think Baldoni needs to surrender the franchise to her, and then they reach some sort of undisclosed settlement between each other. We don't ever need to know how much was paid to who, but the fact that it's settled behind the scenes, I think that's the most important thing. And that she gets the franchise. Like, that's really where this needs to go. Why does Justin need the franchise? I feel like Justin doesn't need the franchise. I feel like what Justin needs is money, settle, go do something else for a little bit, go do smaller films for a little bit, build up your name and your reputation again, work with a lot of women, do that whole thing. And then boom, you'll have a shot at getting a shot at bigger stuff down the road. If you're good enough, that's really the point of it. So I hear you what it means. If it was just a one-sided payoff, that would not be good. And I agree with you there, but I think there has to be a balance here. And you're saying as a Swiftie, I'm tired of those fans not reading the facts to see no one is clean in this. Right. The Taylor Swift fans. Yeah, I know. But look, you can't deny the pretty privilege of it all. And you can't deny that Taylor trades in on that when it's convenient for her to trade in on that as a white, blonde, pretty woman who's very popular, dating an NFL player. There's a little bit of that. And that's our world. Like, that's our world. We have talked about the power of certain people. You've talked about the power of sections of certain people in our society. Certainly the power of pretty people has been around since the dawn of time. It's the source of every 80s movie is the villain is a good-looking man or woman. And that's always been the situation with a lot of these things. And so where we're at now as a society is like, how much of that do we understand is behind some of this stuff and behind the fandom, and look, Swifties are a fan and respect, love. There was Bobby Soxers for Sinatra. There was crazy people for Elvis, crazy people for the Beatles. Watch that Beatles 1964 special on Disney Plus. You can see the immense fandom the Beatles had. Every generation or every couple of generations, there's one star that just becomes this massive thing. Michael Jackson, Beyonce to a degree before Taylor came along. And so everyone's got these massive followings, but you always have to stay level-headed. And if you're looking for level-headedness from uber fans, because remember, the fan is short for fanatic, you're not always going to find it. And so, unfortunately, that's kind of how it goes, which is why I like doing the hot mic, which is why I like doing videos like this. Like, let's look at it from a bit of a more level-headed, fair approach and see what's really going on here, right? And so I try to be the person in the middle, well, not middle, but certainly a person who's looking at both sides and seeing what I feel about it. So, yeah. Let's see. London calling. What's up, Carlton? He says, send support as always, John. Appreciate that, Carlton. You're the best, brother. Always good to see you, my friend. Again, thank you, Frankie C, for that super chat. You're very kind to send that in. Any Streamlabs? Okay, no Streamlabs. All right. Well, I better wrap up here. What do you all think? Let me know down. We got 400 of you hanging out with me right now. Thank you so much for a random live show in the middle of the day. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. Okay. P. Mahan says, you don't understand his motivation for taking this project on. It is not the money. Oh, I do understand, P. And don't talk down to me like that ever again in your life. I absolutely understand what the motivation was, which was to talk about domestic violence, because that was a big deal for him in his podcast. He talked about domestic violence, sexual assault, sexual harassment. He has tried to be a guy who's trying to tell other men how to be better in their relationships with women, right? So taking on this project was about highlighting that and focusing on how sometimes women stay with domestic abusers, and it's a much more complex approach to that relationship. He wanted to expose that and show some of that and challenge the audience to look at something not so black and white, but with much more gray. So unfortunately, his cut didn't get a chance to come out, but his cut would have been focusing on that much more than Blake Lively's cut. But in the end, that's not what happened. So there you go, P. Mahan. Nice try, but yeah, I do understand why he did it. Fredtastic says, any Star Wars news? LOL. No Star Wars news, Fred, other than the Natalie Portman thing, which again, I'm going to tell you all tonight, 7:00 live, Spill the Tequila. Me and Winston A. Marshall are going to talk about the Natalie Portman news, which, by the way, has been rebuffed by a Star Wars Newsnet and other sources who are claiming Natalie is not close to signing. So an interesting situation. We're going to get our thoughts there going on, me and Winston A. We're also going to talk about the playoffs. We're going to talk about people who performed at the Trump inauguration and why, and also about the Trump executive orders and Elon Musk. Did he or did he not throw up 2 Nazi salutes? So we'll be talking about all that tonight at 7 p.m. PT. So look for that. I'll probably drop that in an hour or two, the link for that. So look for that as well. But yeah, you guys are the best. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for letting me talk about all of this stuff. Yeah, let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. What stood out to you? What worked for you? What do you not work for you? I'm sorry. What stood out to you? That's reaction stuff. What stood out to you? What feels like the truth? What doesn't feel like the truth? What do you think's going on here? And I'm asking you to look at it, a much more level-headed assessment of what you see here. Do you agree with me that it seems like both of them are making a little too much out of what happened between them in these scenes in order to win the court of public opinion and come out of this in a better situation and maybe accrue more money in a settlement or get the franchise or whatever? Let me know what you think about all of it. Or do you think it looked like she was legitimately body shaming him about his nose and that he was legitimately sexually harassing her by moving his neck into her, saying she smells good in a playful way because he was talking about the smell of the spray tan, which is never a good smell. So he's joking about it. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you feel about it? Let me know all of it down in the comment section below. Remember, hit a like on this video, share it on your social media. Would love it if you subscribe to the channel down below as well, and hit that bell button so you see when we're dropping random stuff like this, along with our regular shows every week that we do here on the Outlaw Nation. Thanks, guys. You guys are the best. I wish you all kinds of love today. And I know for those of you who are struggling, and trust me, I was certainly struggling, I send you a lot of love and strength and comfort. And remember, you got to take it 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 1 step at a time in order to get through these things. But it does get better. The lights always shine through in the tunnel. You just got to be strong enough to keep walking and moving forward. There's a lot of us with you who are in that same spot or in that same place. And that's the strength that we must have in order to keep pushing forward. So I'm sending you all a lot of strength and love for anybody who's dealing with tough feelings that have been going on here over the last few days. So much love to you all. All right. Thanks everybody. Take care of yourselves. Be well. And I'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of The Nation. And I'm sure we're going to talk about this on the hot mic in a couple of days here on the Outlaw Nation. Peace.